Boomers find a lot of creative ways to earn extra income. They can do it by pet sitting, house sitting. They could do like carpool, taking people to work. They can do deliveries for pharmacies or grocery stores. They can do handyman chores. They do crafts and sell them at craft shows, or, whatever they can find to do to make a little bit more money. I prefer Great Life Worldwide and network marketing, or affiliate marketing as they call it, because it's much easier. And I know because I used to make crafts and I used to go to these craft shows, and it was like every weekend and sometimes a week long. But, you have to make the crafts, which is very time consuming. And then you have to go and pay for your spot at the craft show. And then you got to unload the car and you've got to set everything up. And, that takes time and work and effort. And some of the stuff isn't light, it's heavy. I had to buy one of those collapsible wagons, throw everything in that wagon, and then, haul it to our spot, which was never where we park our car. It was always a nice little jaunt. But I'm just saying, and we were there, like all day long. Some of the shows would be like from 8 in the morning till 1 in the afternoon. But most of them I went to, you were there at 8 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon, sometimes 6. And sometimes these shows are there till 9. And so if you had electricity or a generator or whatever, you would be there till 9. But it was a lot of work and a lot of effort, and you really didn't make a lot of money. I mean, me and my kids and my wife, we did it more or less for fun and for a family thing. We ended up spending most of the money we made on food. But, we had a good time, just being together and selling these crafts that we had. It was different types of jewelry, from cross necklaces to earrings and beaded necklaces and stuff like that, and even bracelets, leather bracelets. But we had a good time together. But now at my age, I prefer to do the network marketing because it's much easier. You just basically got to talk to people, and you don't become a salesman, try to shove it down their throat. You just, would it be okay with you if I share something I'm doing? If they say, yeah, sure, then you just tell them what you got. And if they say, no, you're not interested, then you just say, okay, no problem. You have a good day. I'll talk to you later. And that's it. So network marketing is a breeze once you understand how to talk to people. Instead of being shovey and pushy, you just got to be polite and kind and respect, their feelings or their desires or whatever it is they like to do. I mean, you just offer a solution. If they say no, that's fine. Just move on. So anyhow, that's one of the reasons why I like Great Life. But the biggest thing isn't really the money. I got into this because they had products that I really wanted. With the weight loss product that they have, the GLP Extreme, the stem cell release factor is another one that I like. And then the Get Juiced is another one I like. And plus there's more I like, but I can't afford them all right now. But yeah, I want to be healthy. I want to be around and, for as long as I can. It's like I tell my kids, I don't expect to live forever, but I want to die healthy. I don't want to die, in a personal care home or a nursing home. I want to live my life in my own home until my time expires. So that's basically what I'm all about. And, this is a perfect business for seniors. And, you'll find out that there's a lot of boomers doing this business, not just in Great Life Worldwide, but other companies. I mean, because, they like it too. You can do it from anywhere, and you don't even need a computer anymore. You could do everything with your smartphone. And that's the nice thing about it. You can travel, you can go places. You could be at your kid's house and get a call, or you can get a new subscriber, and then you could just shoot them off an email, to welcome them. I mean, this is an easy business, and I'm surprised that, some people, just turn it away because of one reason or another. But I mean, if you need an extra income and, you'd like to help, earn that money to help pay extra bills or whatever, or just so you could travel, I mean, this is the way to go. I mean, when you got products that actually work and help people, it makes the job a whole lot easier. I don't know I don't know about any other company, but I know our products have a lot of our ingredients, are certified to work. They've been tested, clinically tested. So, I wish, people would take a hard look at this, just read over the different products that we have and the pay plan. The pay plan is up and running now on the website. So, I have a link below. All you got to do is just subscribe, go to the website, take a look at everything, go through the pay plan so you can understand it a little bit. They upgraded the pay plan, so there's a lot more money up front. And, you could be making hundreds of dollars a week right off the bat, just by, talking to people about this and letting them see what you have. So, with that, I mean, if you like pet sitting or house sitting or carpooling or handyman work, that's fine. If that's what you love to do, do it. I mean, there's a lot of people doing that. I know in my drugstore, we have a guy that works part-time just delivering prescriptions. In my local grocery store, they have a guy you order your product online and they pick them up and they deliver them to you, and no extra charge either. So, I mean, there's a lot of things people can do to earn or supplement their income. I prefer network marketing, and if you do too, I encourage you to take a serious look at Great Life Worldwide. Don't hesitate, don't pass on it. Just make sure you understand it before you say no. And that's part of the problem. Too many people, they heard the name or they heard this and that, and they just say, no, I'm not interested, without ever looking at it. We've had people join the business, 3 months later after they were first introduced to it. Some people maybe as late as 6 months, because at first they didn't understand it, or it might not have been the right time, Maybe they had other things going on in their life and they just didn't have the money or the time to do this. So this isn't expensive either. You just need to buy one product to get started. And, that's not expensive. It's like, $49, $59. I mean, there's no monthly membership or anything like that. You just buy a product and you're gone. Just figure out what product you need that'll help you the most. And, the boomers, I suggest, as I've suggested in other videos, you take the stem cell release factor, because you want to put your stem cells back to work. They've been retired too long. Like after a certain age, like around 40, 50, they start, the production of stem cells and the use of those goes way down. Like in the 70s, like I am, you're only using 10% of what you could be using. 90% are like dormant. So you want to boost them babies. You want to get them up and running and go to the parts of your body that needs repairs and needs uplifting. I've been taking them now for, a month and a half. And, I can't find some of the pain that I used to have in different places. I still got a little bit in my back now and then, but, what I had in my knee and my ankle, that's gone. So, I believe that was from the stem cell release factor. There could have been, there could have been other pains too, little pains, but, I don't remember them. They just like subtly disappeared. But, we all got aches and pains, even if you're in your 40s. And, my jobs, my whole life was all physical labor, really hard. I was a maintenance / electrician technician, and we had a lot of physical work at times, heavy. I mean, just lifting a big inverter in place was a hard job. Those babies are heavy, 200, 300 pound. And, basically you only had a room for 2 people to lift it and put it in place. And then there was other hard equipment to work with. We had big grinders where they had, the blades that crushed the stone. They were like 4 inches thick. They were like 3 feet long and, 18 inches wide. And those babies were heavy, really heavy. And 2 guys had to lift them in place and then bolt them down. But I'm just saying, life isn't always a bowl of Cheerios, a bowl of cherries. You just got to do what you got to do to get by in life. And, I did the best I could with what I had. And, now I'm doing whatever I can with network marketing. And, I really think this is going to be a huge success. I can just see, the excitement from some people about, the products and the pay plan. So I encourage you to take a serious look. It doesn't cost nothing. Just take a look at the products, research them if you want to, check the pay plan out and see how much money you can make up front. I can tell you right now, there's a lot of money, first in the fast start bonuses and also in the 2x14 matrix. So I wouldn't pass on this without serious consideration. So I seriously hope you take a look. And other than that, we'll be talking again. Have a great day. Take care. Oh, again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This old man can use all the help I can get. Thanks. Bye.